Welcome back to Trucking and Politics, folks. We were having a little technical difficulty there. I had to restart my camera a couple of times. So, I think we're good now. So, the subject of the day is job hoppers, specifically trucking job hoppers. I think we all know what I'm talking about there. I actually admit that I am guilty of being a job hopper. I admit it. I was one in the past. Hopefully I'm not one now. So the thing is, first off, I want to define what job hopper means to me so we can be on the same page. It might mean something else to you, but what it means to me specifically is someone in trucking, specifically, since we're trucking and politics here. A job hopper is someone that you go to work, apply for a job, you get accepted, you work there maybe 1 day, 2 days, maybe a week, you stop, you quit, and then you immediately turn around and grab another job. You stop, you quit, you get another job. And it's just a revolving cycle, right? Okay. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about there is like using me for an example, this last job I had. Not the company I'm working for now, the one before it. It was headquartered in Memphis. It was a Memphis, Tennessee based company. I called them. I tried to do my research with them. I thought they were a good, stable company. They sounded good. I looked at the website. I looked at Google reviews. I tried to do my homework on it. I spoke to them, I think, 3 different times. The same guy I talked to, but I talked to him on 3 different occasions. Seemed like a nice guy, seemed like a very honest person. Here's how I saw that guy. I saw him personally as being a really nice guy. As a personal relationship or a personal friendship, I don't have anything against the guy. I think he was a great guy. Now, business wise, I even accused him of this. I said, "You are a cheerleader for this company. You over exaggerate, you sugarcoat things." And there's several different reasons, why I can bring up that, confirm my point there. So, one, they had really good customer freight. They're really busy. Wrong answer. That was not true. Dispatch told me a different story. They actually told me they didn't want to have any more drivers because they couldn't keep the drivers they had busy. Another thing he said was we have 60 to 70% drop in hooks. I found out later on in orientation their drop in hook percent was about 20 to 30% because of the downturn in the economy. So I feel like he misled me. He over exaggerated the company. He was a cheerleader for the company. This is not what I'm talking about with job hopping. I went to worked there about 2 months, and I said, "Nah, this is not for me," and I left. I'm not talking about that. What I'm actually talking about, there is a friend of a friend that I know. I'm going to keep his identity anonymous. That's the only information I'm giving, is a friend of a friend. This guy had an at fault accident. He got fired from his job, let go, whatever. His lease ended. And then I had to get my notes here. My then he went and started applying for company driving jobs because financial reasons, different things, he couldn't go back to being an owner operator. His truck was totaled, and all this. I think he wanted to stay where he was. I think that's the main issue here is he wanted to stay where he was. He didn't want his lease ended, right? So out of protest, he was getting these company driving jobs, and then he was second guessing it, saying, I don't really want to work there. I don't want to be a company driver. I want to go back to being an owner operator. I want to go back to work for this company that ended my lease. And I'm sure he probably called them. I'm assuming here, but I'm sure he probably called them and tried to work it out. Well, obviously it didn't, or whatever happened. So he went into company driving jobs and just one after another, after another, after another. I'm surprised people were hiring him. I figured after maybe 6 jobs in 4 months, someone would look at that and say, hey, this guy's not going to stay here. Let's not hire him. And I think there was some companies that were that way. They were like, no, we're not doing this with this guy. So I'm sure there was a lot that turned him down. But there was a lot that accepted him, which surprised me, especially since he had an at-fault accident on his record. Really shocked me that companies were that desperate, I guess. I guess that was the word to use, desperate for a driver, that they would hire this guy and he would just work a little short period of time and then he would quit. There was companies he wasn't even getting paid to work for them and would just turn around and get another job. And I was like, what are you doing? What is going on? You need to really step it down, slow down here, and think about what's going on here instead of just flying off the handle like this. But I think it's getting better for him. It seems like maybe he's got a job now that he really likes. I don't know. I wish him well. I'm not going to stress over him, but I wish him well. That's what I'm talking about. So why do people do this? Well, there's different reasons. Like this guy, out of protest, maybe. I guess you could say that. Another thing is younger drivers. Okay? You have to go back, like I'm 54 years old. You have to go back into your mindset of when you were 20 to 25 years old. If you were single during that period of time, no kids, you had fun hanging out, running around with friends, you just didn't want to be gone, whatever reason. Younger people are hard to please. They're full of themselves. They're full of energy and emotions, and a lot of them have ADHD. They just have attention deficit. They're just start, stop. And I don't like this, I'm going here. I don't like this, I'm going here. And they don't even slow down to think about what they're doing. They're just jumping, jumping from one job to another. Just go, 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 go. Eventually I'll find one that works for me. Well, not to be, overly bossy or whatever, but maybe the problem is you just need to grow up. Anyway. Okay, so drivers sometimes are hard to please. They don't like a style of truck. They don't like a route. They are sent somewhere that makes them mad. They have a dispatcher that they just personally don't get along with. Sometimes drivers are just difficult. They may be a good truck driver, they may be good at what they do, but they're just very hard to please. They're very finicky. I heard about a guy a really long time ago, probably I would say 2003, 2004, something like that. I was a company driver for a place, and the only way they could retain this guy to keep him to stay there was to put, and I'm not joking when I say this is going to sound unbelievable. He wanted purple mud flaps on the rear of his truck with the little chrome, triangle shaped chrome tips that went on the bottom. And they were telling me this story about the guy, and he said, I asked him, he was getting really mad. He was about to quit. And I said, what is it that would take you to stay here? Well, you're not going to agree with it, so I'm not going to talk to you. Well, tell me. I don't know until you tell me. I saw some purple mud flaps at the chrome shop, and they had the chrome down at the bottom, and I want those. I want to put them on the truck, but it's a company truck, so you're not going to allow me to do it, so I'm going to quit. And the guy looked at him and he said, would you be willing to buy them? Yeah, I'll buy them. But I want them on the truck. Well, go buy them and take them to the shop and we'll put them on for you. Seriously, if that's all it takes to keep you as a driver, go get your mud flaps. We'll put them on today. And that's just weird to me. That's very strange. But drivers like that are very finicky. They're very, I don't know, they're just, some people are just so hard to please. They want a certain style of truck. They want a certain color of truck. I've heard of that before. This truck I'm driving is white. I don't like white vehicles. I just don't like white. There's 10,000 different colors you can pick besides white, but I'm not going to throw this job away. I like working here. It pays good, and there's really nothing for me to gripe about here. I'm not going to throw the job away because I have to drive a white truck. Oh well. There's worse things that you can think of. Now, do I like it? Would I prefer it? No. I would rather have any color. Black, silver, purple. Heck, I'd rather drive a pink truck than a white truck. And that's the honest truth. I would. I'd rather drive a pink truck than a white truck. I just really don't like white. I really just don't like that color. And it really irritates me. I like when my truck is dirty. That's funny to me. But I like when my truck is dirty. At least it gives it a little character to break up the white. Because I really don't like white. But I'm not going to quit a job because it's white. This is like, I think especially with younger drivers, what I'm talking about with this subject. Being hard to please, being finicky, stuff like that. I think that is more younger drivers. As we get older, stuff like that, it doesn't bother us as much, maybe. I don't know. I don't mean to be downing younger drivers, but I really think just in general, when you're older, it doesn't bother you as much as when you're younger. You think of how other people look at you, or you have to meet a certain criteria with your friends or something like that. So I don't really care. If you want to make fun of me for driving a white truck, make fun of me. I just Doesn't bother me, I don't guess. It bothers me that I drive it. But you saying something about it, I'm like, I would probably say I agree with you. It sucks to drive a white truck. So, short attention spans is another one. Like the ADHD thing, just short attention spans. Getting out on the road and staying out for a long period of time, taking your 34 out on the road. You're wanting to run and the company is telling you to set. A lot of things like this. I'm going to bring up this, and I'm not going to talk too much about this guy, but he has a YouTube channel. He's a younger guy. And he was talking on his channel about that he worked for a mega carrier, a big company, a very large size mega carrier company. And he was talking about all the things that he didn't like about it: running out west in the snow, the northwest in the snow, having to chain up. He did a video where he got stuck in the road one time, and you could tell he was just really mad and irritated and agitated and everything, and he just turned around and said, I quit. A couple of months ago, I guess. I've been following him on his channel, and I guess it was a couple of months ago he quit and turned around and went to work for another mega carrier. And I'm like, why? Don't you see that they're probably going to be one and the same? Why wouldn't you go to work for maybe a smaller company or a more regional type company or a more central area running company? Why would you want to work for a mega carrier that's irregular all over the place? Of course, this other company is probably going to send you to the Northwest in a snowstorm. They probably will. They're going to probably be just like the company you just quit. So this fits into the job hopping thing. You're not thinking about what caused you to quit. Just because you quit one job with one name on it and you go to work for another company that's got a different name on it, you're doing the same job. You're in the same position. It's just like you're jumping out of one boat into another boat, but they're the same style of boat and they're going in the same direction. That may be just lack of knowledge on his part. I don't know. Or he may have talked to someone that said that it was going to be different. I don't know. But I could see where a job hopping situation would come out of that too, right? He's going to get really bored and really frustrated with this other company. So that was actually a video that I was thinking about doing, was educating yourself towards trucking companies to pick one that is more individualized, suited for just you. It took me 2 other companies after I quit being an owner operator. 2 other companies failed before I found this one. This one checks off all of the boxes, for me. There's a couple of different things. The white truck is one. There's a couple of other things that are very minor that I don't like. But overall, the whole big picture, this company really fits for me. I would like to do a video like that of what would fit for you. That way you wouldn't be a job hopper. A little education thing about, and you may say, well, you should say everyone should know about this. It's not that everyone knows about it. There's another YouTuber that's older, about my age, and he quit a job and went to work for another company, He just put a video out yesterday. I just watched it yesterday, and he was going off the rails on this company about how they treated him bad, and dispatchers was lying to him, pre-planners were lying to him, and all of this. And I'm like, I think maybe doing a video like that, if enough people would watch it, I think it would probably help someone, and they might have this moment, like, oh, that's what it is. That's what's, causing me to not like trucking companies and all. Because just because they're trucking companies, that doesn't mean they're all the same and they all work the same. Another reason for job hopping might be financials. Okay. Financial instability. That can cause you a lot of weird thinking, to be financially stressed to the point where you make irrational decisions. One thing that I can think of is there's companies, I don't like these companies doing this, but they'll say make up to 75 cents a mile, run up to 3,500 miles per week, more miles available if needed. If a person is in a financially unstable situation, that sounds great. But you don't realize what running 3,500 miles a week does to you. I've done it in the past. 3,500 miles a week, week in and week out, and weekend and week out, and just over and over. After about 6 months of that, you're going to be feeling it hard. Probably less than 6 months. I know for me, for my age, probably about 3 weeks of that, and I'd be calling it. I'd be throwing in the towel. I'm done. I can't do it anymore. Right? So, being young, a lot of these things are kind of geared towards, I think, younger people. But like I said, this one older guy that's on YouTube, I don't think he's caught on to what's going on with it. And I think he's probably about to quit the job he's at too. Chasing money, one bad check, and they're like, hey, we're done. You have one bad week, truck breaks down. That's something this older guy was talking about on his YouTube channel. Excuse me. He said, my truck broke down 3 times. That's not my fault. They're costing me money. They need to have a better truck for me. I'm not going to put up with this. I'm going to put it in the shop. And he even said that. I'm going to put it in the shop one more time. And they better get it fixed this time. They better get it fixed. I've got problems with this truck right now. The check engine light keeps coming back on. And I talked to safety about it today. He was more upset than I was. He said, has this happened before? And I said, no. It just started a couple of days ago. You write it up and you get the shop to fix it. And I'm going to call and check up on them to make sure they fixed it. And if you get back in that truck and it comes back on, you call me immediately. I want to know right away, because I'm going to follow up and I'm going to check up with them and I'm going to find out what's going on. And I said, hey, it's just a check engine light. I don't even think it's a big deal. No, we're getting it fixed. So, I don't know. I don't know about that. It didn't really seem like that big of a deal to me. Maybe that's a difference in the company that I work for and that this other guy works for. Maybe he's got a legitimate reason to be upset. I don't know. Um, Here's one that I think really does affect all ages. It's not just younger people. It's all ages. Truck driving sucks. I was having this conversation with the safety guy here at this company too, and he just looked at me. He just turned his head and looked at me, and he said, "You don't have to tell me. Trucking sucks." And I said, "Trucking's really not that bad." No, trucking sucks. To leave your house, leave your family, and get in a truck and drive 2 or 3 thousand miles away and stay gone all week, and then come home and just have a very short period of time home, and you have to turn around and go again. It sucks. But we try to make it as best as we can for you here. But it still sucks. He just got a different view than me. Because I don't think trucking sucks that bad. Now, if somebody gave me $1 million and told me to go home, I probably would take $1 million. uh, so social distancing, being away from friends, your family, your loved ones, it's sometimes really hard. Some people can't handle it as much as other people. Luckily, my wife understands because her dad was a truck driver for, I think, 40 years, 45 years. So she understands that. She understands that trucking lifestyle. So she's okay with it. But other people that's not in the trucking field, and then all of a sudden you go into the trucking field and it seems like everybody just leaves because you're like, well, he's not here anymore. Let's go out and, have fun and go to places and stuff. And, maybe this guy calls from the truck wanting to talk to everybody, and they're all gone doing something else, and, they don't talk to him. I mean, I could see that. But then if you quit your job to come home to hang out with your family, your friends, or your whatever situation you need to come back home to, but then you need the money, so you go back, and then you see how it could get to be a revolving door of a job hopping situation. So think about it, I guess, before you just jump and go into trucking, because then you might be a job hopper once you jump and get into it without thinking. Another thing, on this same subject here, kind of, is maybe you're trying to hang on to something, a friend, a relationship, a wife, a spouse, husband, whatever, but that person is using you financially. It happens. It's sad, but it happens. And you want to fight it in your head that that's really not the situation and it's really not happening. So you go to work and you try to be in a good mood, and then that person may not talk to you. Then Friday comes along, all of a sudden they're wanting to talk to you, and you're like, "Oh, hey, you've been busy all week, right?" You're even making excuses for them. Kind of sounds like I might have went through that. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. So then you get in a situation where you're torn. What do I do? Do I stay with my job? Do I keep working? Do I come home? You see how that could start this trend of being back and forth, back and forth. I gave a guy a ride one time. He was from the town I was from, but the job was based in Michigan. So he parked his car, got in the semi with me, and we took off and went to Michigan. All the way up there, he just constantly griped and griped and griped about everything he could gripe about. The truck was too cold, the truck was too hot, it was too stuffy, he wanted to roll his window down, it got too cold, this was wintertime, it got too cold, he wanted to roll the window up. He had the heater cranked all the way over on heat, hot heat, and had the fan all the way up on high. It was burning my feet. It was blowing, and I was using the fuel pedal and the clutch and all, and it was burning my feet. And he was sitting over here talking on the phone with someone, whoever it was. And I was like, man, I got to turn this down. As soon as I turned it down, he reached over and turned it right back up. Man, it's freezing in here. And then went back to talking on his phone again. And we got up there and found out the guy had turned around and got I think a bus ticket and went right back home because he didn't want to go up there and go to work. Whoever it was he was talking to on the phone, I'm assuming it was a girlfriend, but I don't know that. But I think that person was a person that was irritating and agitating him so much, but he turned around and wanted to come back home. So no job, no money. So going back to another job. I mean, it's like this. I guess the whole big thing is like an instability issue, maybe. And then the last thing that I had wrote down was mental emotional stress issues, and that is the bubble that I'm talking about. The whole big picture of the bubble is when you have all these mental stress, financial issues, getting a job and getting a truck driving job is not going to fix that. That's not going to fix that problem. Now, I'm not saying that you're in such bad shape you need to go to get mental health counseling. I'm not being that way. But doing something to offset a problem without addressing the problem is going to just cause another problem. So, if you're in this situation where you're job hopping and you're just trying to find something that fits, that fixes the problem, I can tell you from experience, you have to fix the problem. You have to fix the problem before you move on. So, I would like to do a video. I don't know if it'll be the next one or not, but I'll write it down and I'll try to really think about doing this next video. But another video that I would like to do that's very similar to this, like I said, is setting out and trying to find a job that does work for you. That kind of goes hand in hand with this job hopping thing. If the problem is the job, right? It's not these mental, emotional, stress, financial, all of this kind of stuff that's causing you to job hop. It's just you can't find the right job. You want to be a truck driver, but there's things that you like and you dislike, and you're having so much trouble fitting in, finding the right job for you. I think I could do a video that might help you, point you in the right direction, show you the right thing to look for, the right questions to ask whenever you call about a job, how to research. Now, this last company, they got me. They did. They got me. I bought their spill story and they got me. But this job here is a really good job. And they didn't overpromise, they didn't over exaggerate. I asked the questions, almost the same questions I asked the last company. The last company accused me of being like this, like I'm talking about, like a very angry, irritated, agitated person that had personal issues, and I wanted to lash out. And I pretty much told him, no, that's not the problem. You lied. That's the problem. You know, I was sure of myself. Now that I got into this job, I'm overly sure of myself because I know that the problem was not me. It was the job. So maybe we can do a video on that I can show you some pointers and everything, point you in the right direction. If you're having so much trouble trying to find that good job or find the job that you want to do, maybe I can give you some pointers and help you out. Until then, I wish everybody well, be safe out there, and have a good day.